How strong was Modulo Yuji? Probably pretty darn. What's up, guys? That guy with a reaction here. Fun fact, I do have to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, Modulo Yuji is an interesting case. A very interesting case. Mainly because we know nothing. Right? Like, notably, at the time of recording, Chapter 6 has come out. And we have the current, I guess, quote-unquote, main antagonist, or at least the guy we were fighting as of recent, Takeda, admit that he had fought Modulo Yuji and escaped him. But, like, it doesn't really give us anything. He's being compared to Maru in terms of the feelings the guy was given, but, like, that's it. And obviously, I don't think this random guy who was assessed by our current modern cast to be a grade 1 level fighter would have actually been a threat to Yuji. I don't think any grade 1 would be. But do I think Yuji ever reached special grade? No. And I know it's going to be very controversial. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, Pencilman, how could you say that? How dare you say that Yuji never reached special grade? Because special grade isn't like just a raw power thing. He's special grade level, clearly, as in he can harm, damage. Can he beat? Yeah, and he can probably beat some special grades. Not all of them, but some special grades. But like, I still don't see Yuji soloing a nation. Presumably, I'm guessing this is going to be a hypothetical video talking about a Yujilicious upscale, right? Like, essentially, what would Yuji be at full potential? Which I believe not Ronin. Gosh darn, that's what I was recording my videos. That Operator has done before. I think it was either them or Ronin who has done, like, a full potential Yuji video. So, like, we may see that, but even then, I don't think a full potential Yuji. I mean, unless you think he got open domain, maybe, and like actually unlock some range, then maybe he has a better chance. But I still don't think he has the stamina or the wide scale of attacks that like would be necessary to be special grade. He doesn't have like the freedom and flexibility to just like send something else out to do the country wiping for him, like a Yuta, like a Geto, like a Tsukumo. Like, I don't know. I'm interested on that. If I had to hazard a guess, though. Oh, but before I get into any of that, you can see I'm already going down the yapping rabbit hole. The link to the original video will be in the description down below. I'm going to link to No Operator's channel. Of course, if you haven't found No Operator, but you found me, he's a fantastic content creator. He covers JJK, mostly JJK? Like, he's literally a Jogo PFP. But he covers other things, including Demon Slayer, including... I think he did Sakamoto Days, too, in the past. Like, he's done a lot. And Hunter x Hunter, like, a bunch of anime manga. Go check out No Operator. I mean, if you found me, you found No Operator. But the link will be in the description down below, and I'll link to the original video. Then back to the discussion of like Modulo Yuji, or essentially like what would be full potential Yuji, right? Because Modulo Yuji is likely dead, right? Like, unfortunately, I, unlike many others for some reason, know. Well, at least I'm not saying I know for a fact. Who knows? Maybe Gay is going to retcon this, but no, Choso wasn't actually like 150 years old. As he lived that long? He was, well, he was a death painting. I can't say that. I can say that word. He was a death painting, right? So he was in like a stasis for 150 years, where he was apparently conscious enough to refine his technique. But Choso wasn't actually alive for 150 years. I've seen a lot of people take that statement about Choso as being like, oh, Yuji has a super long lifespan because he became just like Choso. Choso didn't actually have a super long lifespan. He was a dude, right? Like, he may have been slightly longer lived, but that's never even confirmed. Remember, Choso isn't even alive for a full year. Like, at least not alive in the sense he has like an actual physical movable body in the real world. So I, unlike many others, don't believe that we're going to see, like, a super old, yet somehow still prime Yuji. I think the guy's just dead, right? Because notably it's already been mentioned that almost everyone else is gone. Yuta, shockingly enough, was, like, the longest lived of all of his compatriots. And if Yuji was still around, I think we like, at least our two main characters that aren't Samodian, aka Yuka and Maru, would know about Yuji being alive. I mean, he'd be one. They'd at least know that Sukuna had 4. I think they're all dead. Which is unfortunate. I would love to see some Yuji, and obviously, or like an older Yuji. I'm assuming we may see him in some flashbacks. We already got that little one panel of him in a flashback. We have characters remembering him. So, like, we may get some hint. I think Yuji's actually dead. I don't think he actually lived super duper long. Well, he lived long, but like probably to his 60s or 70s or 80s. I don't think he's like a super long lived creature that's going to be still in his prime because DPWs don't age or anything. Like, I think that's like pure headcanon and just a misinterpretation or misremembering of facts from the narrative, which is fine. I do that all the time. But for his raw stats, like, I'm thinking of the full potential Yuji. And very specifically, I could have sworn that this video was titled differently. I know it's titled differently because I downloaded the thumbnail. I'm still going to use the old thumbnail. I mean, like, I like the new thumbnail, but I like the previous, like, custom one he did before where it was, like, Yuji with claws holding the, like, you're going to see it. It's the thumbnail of this video. But he changed it to, like, the common older Yuji design where for some reason he has longer hair. I don't know why they went down with the long hair out, but that's the more common design for, like, an older Yuji. But, like, a full potential Yuji. Off the top of my dome piece, he would master blood manipulation, presumably through training with Kamo and stuff like that. He would, I guess, master Shrine. But then again, I'm not even sure how, like, my big issue with the hypothetical full power, full potential, Modulo, Yuji, all that, is that he doesn't have the incentive to get stronger, right? Like, think about, like, what threats would exist that would transcend Sukuna. If the guy couldn't unlock dismantles that weren't contact-based after hitting, what, 9 black flashes? When was he hitting more black flashes? We like to joke in, like, post-continuity that he's hitting black flashes on random 4th grade curses and stuff like that, but, like, that's not really what would happen. Yuji himself, the one chosen by the Black Sparks, usually only hits Black Flash when he needs to, and there's nothing in the universe that would make him need to. So, like, I don't actually know how much higher, like, post time skip or Modulo or just, like, 10 years post JJK's run Yuji would actually be, because I don't think he actually has that much incentive to get stronger. He'd run into the Gojo issue. Well, unless he's fighting Maki and fighting Yuta and fighting Hikari all the time, like, I don't think there's any real reason for him to actually get exponentially stronger, like I've seen a lot of people believe he did. So I'm interested in what this video has to say. For full potential, though, I still don't think he'd really... Well, I mean, it depends on how much better stats get, I guess. Because, like, personally, I'm still in the camp that Yuji loses to someone like Maki. Just because of, like, their speed interactions with dismantles, her precog, and her ability to set his durability to 0 and, like, take whole limbs off. And also the fact he doesn't have any range. I still think Yuji kind of loses to Yuta. Just because he gets domain diffed. But then again, if we're assuming full power Yuji, so he wouldn't get domain diffed. They clash, so sure, hits would neutralize, but then Yuta has all the swords, and he would probably be, if not resistant, like, Soul Dismantle wouldn't do anything to him. Maybe regular Malevolent Charm, still the sure hits would be canceled out. And then it's Yuta and Rika. And, like, Yuta also didn't reach his full physical potential. Who knows if that boy got gained? So I think Yuta would probably still win. Hikari, you could unironically make an argument for Hikari if you think Yuji doesn't do soul damage in the way other characters do soul damage, like Maki and like Mahito, and I personally don't think he does. I think his soul dismantles are very, very specific, or just his soul damage in general. Like, I don't think he has SSK style soul damage. I've gone down this rabbit hole many times before. I'm not gonna go too deep into it here, because once again, I want to actually get into the video. But, like, I think you could even argue he loses to Hikari. As long as Hikari keeps getting domain off. Like, if Urume couldn't stop Hikari with their infinite range and ice and a little ability to freeze him at the end of rounds, and she couldn't do it, I don't think Yuji could either, which may sound crazy. Like, essentially, if Hikari gets jackpot and he just like stun locks Yuji forever, like, I could see Yuji running out of stamina first. Just saying. Though he could sharpen Shrine. I don't know. It's essentially the what if on everyone except for like Maki and Toji fighting Hikari, where like most people would have to interact with jackpot eventually, and thusly the question is, do they ever interact with jackpot in the right way? So, like, realistically, I don't even see Yuji. I don't see a full potential Yuji becoming special grade, and honestly, I don't really see him even being stronger than Yuta. Maki, I may give, but even then, that's really debatable. Because really the main thing is, right, I'm talking about, like, the heavy hitters. I see a lot of discussion on whether or not Yuji could surpass Gojo or Sukuna, and the answer is no. The answer is no. Yuji, while he had potential equal to Sukuna, he literally lacks the body for it. Unless you think Yuji spontaneously grew 2 extra arms and developed a second belly mouth, he will never catch up to Sukuna. We literally see this at final Yuji versus Sukuna after hitting 9 black flashes, having his output and potential raise to the roof while Sukuna's still down in the trenches, and he's getting bullied in his own domain. He never surpassed Sukuna, and he never will, because Sukuna's the exception. Same thing with Gojo. He literally could never beat Gojo. Never. 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 Even if they're put in domain clash scenarios, Yuji doesn't know DA, and he probably never learned it either. Unless you headcanon Yuji learned DA, he literally can't even hit Gojo. And Yuji's nowhere near, he may have the same potential as Sukuna biologically, but he doesn't have the same aptitude for Jujutsu that Sukuna does. That's pretty clear on how the two interact. So he's not getting World King slash or anything like that. So, like, no, I don't think Modulo Yuji post that, like, I don't know. But see, I'm going so deep into this, I'm like, am I a Yuji down player? Am I a Yuji anti? No. But I also don't think he's actually, like, that cracked. But I think that's good. I think it's actually better for the character than him being super cracked. So, like, I don't know. I'm already 10 minutes in. Let me not waste more time. This is only a 9-minute video. Let's hop right into it. No!
With the release of the spin-off manga Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, there is plenty of new...
Modulo. I mean, I guess, you know, that makes sense, though, because module. I've been saying Modulo. Is it modulo? Is it Modulo? How do you say it? Hold. Oh! Wait, wrong thing. But let me see. How do you say it?
With the release of the spin-off manga Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, there is... Module as in module. I mean, I guess that works. I wonder if I've been saying it wrong then. Not related. But let's see. plenty of new information information and lore that has us looking at plenty of the early characters a little differently. Specifically, there is one manga panel that has everybody asking one of the biggest questions.
And I've seen this panel be used to upscale Yuji. That, like, sorry, like, notably, I think I've just been so, like, anti-Yuji glaze, because I've seen, like, the opposite. I've seen everyone saying Yuji's like a god, he's a monster, he's a demon. Which, he actually was called a demon god at one point. But, the thing about this is that this is a random guy. This is a random guy. Why would he know about Yuji's full potential? Why would he even know about Gojo? This is a random guy who was born, let's see, 68 years ago. The guy from chapter 1 who was kidnapping people was, like, definitely no older than 40. So at best, if the calling him occurred 60 years ago, he was born 40 years ago. And that's once again assuming highball age, and he was fully conscious and adult and actually, like, knew of Yuji and Gojo at this point. He wouldn't even be alive in the same realm like Gojo was, so how would he know that Yuji surpassed Gojo? I think the only reason Yuji and Gojo are used is because Gojo's the most popular character from the original manga, and Yuji was the main character of the previous manga. And one was responsible for, like, the first half of the battle against Sukuna, and the other one is the one who finished Sukuna. But remember, our modern cast, who are actual literal descendants of the people who were in the battle with Sukuna, clearly never saw the footage, because they can't even find it feasible that there are sorcerers with more than 2 eyes. Meaning Mei's footage, I guess, didn't get recorded or was, like, classified for one reason or another, even though people were, like, betting on it. So, this panel being used to upscale Yuji, even when it first came out, I was like, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make, like, I think I even talked about it in, like, my, like, chapter 1 and 2, like Fuse review, where I was like, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't really upscale Yuji. Because it doesn't. It's not even real. What's it?
Out of all of the prodigy students that Gojo trained in his heyday, was Itadori Yuji the one that was actually able to surpass him? With the new generation...
No. But let's see if Operator can convince me otherwise.
...of sorcerers and Modulo coming nowhere near close to the level of power from the sorcerers of old, a cursed user reminisces of the days of the culling game when heroes like Yuji and Gojo Satoru were on the scene. And
okay, I think he just... you know what? I'm confident in saying Modulo and not Modulo, because I think he's always pronounced Satoru, even though, like, there's not an O at the end of his name. And notably, I'm a bit and this isn't even like Slayer no Opera. You say things how you want to say things, it's whatever. But I personally never liked when, and this is even like a me thing. It's why whenever people correct me on me saying names wrong during my reviews, I'm like, thank you. Let me see if I can say them correctly. Because whenever there's like an actual like confirmed pronunciation for it, then I'm like, oh, okay, there's no excuse. like Gojo Satoru. It's like the thing, Satoru. And like there's a U at the end of his name. So, like, that's a pronunciation thing. And it's why, like, Yuki Miya. I always said Yuki Maya for the longest time when I was reviewing Blue Lock. It's Yuki Miya. There's, like, an actual anime that says the name. I just never said it right. And then people corrected me on that, and now I try to correct it. So, like, that's a case where maybe Operator just pronounces it Modulo. But notably, Maju... I mean, like, there's no J, but you can read do as Ju. Like, I've heard that before. So, Modulo... as in module, and once again that makes sense more than Modulo, but Modulo is just reading it as it is. So like maybe that still, but like I remember even when I first started watching Operator years ago at this point, years plural, yeah I'm pretty sure it's been years at this point. Like he would always pronounce things like Satoru as like, and I was always like, huh? But and then literally I remember the first time I watched it, I had to like go back and watch the anime. It's one of the reasons why, as much as I like loved when I was younger, I loved the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie. They said Ong, and I'm like, dog, this isn't even like a source material interpretation thing. Like they literally like, how do you watch the source material of Avatar: The Last Airbender to make your movie and can't get the main character's name pronunciation? Who's Ong? Ong Aang. It's simple as that. Let's see.
Gojo always claiming that people like Yuji might have the power to surpass him.
And he was straight, except for Yuta. Because Maki couldn't surpass him. Hikari definitely couldn't surpass him. That punch kick merchant. Yuji can't surpass him. Yuta, I don't even think Yuta could surpass him. Mainly because, like, I'm not sure if Yuta ever really became that, like, 6 foot plus. Because what, Gojo's like 6'4"? How tall is Gojo? Oh, Gojo, come to me. Let me see how tall you are, big boy. Let me see. Satoru Gojo. But yeah, let's see. And technically Gojo never even reaches prime, or 109. So he's like over 6'3". I don't think Yuta ever had that build in him. And obviously we know build correlates to stats. And on top of that, like, 6 Eyes is just too good. Even with Unlimited Rika, like, he clearly could never copy Limitless. And I think Limitless, as broken as Yuta's own bag is, like, especially with things like Jacob's Ladder and stuff like that, he always gets domain diffed, because he never reached the same refinement level as Gojo or Sukuna. I always say this, he only managed to match Sukuna because Sukuna was heavily damaged anyway, and he was in Gojo's body. I don't think he actually ever matched Gojo's refinement. I see a lot of people say that Yuta has Gojo level refinement. No! But who knows? I could be wrong on that. And even in that case, even if he matches refinement in Gojo, he loses in the domain class. Because Gojo's just that much faster and stronger, and he's never going to be able to do enough damage to Gojo if Jacob's Ladder is canceled out. And if he lands Jacob's Ladder once through, like, one of the swords, it just wouldn't be enough to beat Gojo. Even, like, a hypothetical, full potential, fully adult Yuta, I don't think any of the students could surpass Gojo. Gojo was the exception for a reason. That's it.
And even the other side of the equation, Ryoma and Sukuna...
Same thing. I don't think anyone surpassed Sukuna. Not Yuta, not Gojo, or, well, clearly not Gojo. But, Yuji, no one's surpassing Sukuna. Once again, literally the body plus the actual aptitude for Jujutsu, right? Like, that is a Sukuna exclusive thing. So, I also don't think no one surpassed these two. And I think that's kind of the point, right? I think that's kind of the point. The whole point was, you don't want, like, an over-centralized... and it's why I've always been a little, like, iffy on the idea that, oh, everyone had to surpass those two, especially by Modulo, or, like, but in the post-time skip, no. The whole point of the narrative was that there shouldn't be one single strongest person that just judges and does everything. It should be a collective effort of strong people, yes, but the strongest. So, like, even narratively, it would have made sense for them to surpass Gojo and Sukuna. At least that's my thought. But I know many other people view otherwise. Though, once again, this is fat speculation. We never actually knew how strong Yuto or Maki or Hakari or Yuji got. And once again, I don't think we're ever going to get that hardline confirmed. I don't think we're ever going to get a statement that says such and such surpassed Gojo and Sukuna, because everyone who could have known that is dead. Unless we get a flashback to a conversation that, I don't know, Yuka or Tsurugi heard their grandparents talking about, oh yeah, remember Yuji Itadori, or like Maki goes, I remember you surpassed all through Gojo, and even then I wouldn't trust Maki on that. So, like, I think we're never gonna get it confirmed. I think it's literally impossible for them, just because of how powerful Gojo and Sukuna were. What's it?
Admitting Yuji did have similar levels of potential to him, I want to go over...
Similar levels of potential, but I don't think, like, it's literally the body in the case of Sukuna for Yuji, where even if I were to give Yuji everything Sukuna had, and give him blood manipulation too, that's the second technique he has on top of that, and the soul damaging stuff, all that, I still don't think he'll be able to surpass Sukuna because of his body and the cap, like the cap that he has by not having 2 extra arms and 2 extra mouths. I think that's too hard for you to overcome. But let's see.
For a brief visualization of how powerful a peak Itadori Yuji could be with years of training under him.
Yeah, this is the common design. I don't know what, like, one, he at least here he does look rather mean. I never got why we always want to make Yuji mean. And well, I get it. They made him look more like Sukuna, but, like, that's the one thing Yuji didn't want to become, so I never got making him look more like Sukuna. But also, Sukuna never had long hair. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a cool design, but whenever I saw this, like, post-time skip Yuji design, I was always like, huh? Are you like, it's cool, but, like, I don't know, it feels off. But credits to the original artists. They also did a very good job of mimicking Gege's art style. Let's see.
Considering that Yuji was able to become so strong in only a couple months of learning sorcery, and even gained plenty of new abilities in a month time span between the Culling Game and Shinjuku Showdown, this theory that everybody is talking about might actually be more true than everybody believes.
You got a lot of convincing of me to do, Humphrey. You got a lot of convincing. Let's see.
I mean, for starters, even from the beginning of the main series, Itadori Yuji was one of the #1 hand-to-hand and close quarters combatants. If you were to give him years to master cursed energy reinforcement, as well as further refine his martial arts and melee skills, this man could become unstoppable, defeating even Maki Zenin in the physical department, and potentially using a bunch of cursed objects from all the different clans, considering he's got the connections to the Kamo, Zenin, and Gojo clans now.
My only okay, so we're going with this. Him surpassing Maki, I'm actually, like, notably, I'm somewhat legally fine with it, but once again, you gotta slap some meaty headcanons on it. Like, notably, you cannot look at how Yuji performs even post-awakening against Sukuna and dismantles, and then look at how Maki performs against a better Sukuna, physically and with dismantles. Like, she literally, Maki only gets blitzed once when Sukuna locks in. She even literally, like, if you go back to the chapter, she literally reacts to the black flash and catches it in her hand. So, like, Speed-wise, I always have Maki above Yuji, at least in terms of like reaction speed and stuff like that, because Yuji never reacts to dismantles, he never reacts to anything like that. But I do agree, right? Maki put the limits of physical potential, and I'm personally in the camp of Maki and told you can't get stronger. So like, I'm actually in the realistically pro Yuji camp in that, like him actually surpassing Maki. I guess my only thing is, right, there are things that Maki can do because of her physicals, and once again her like literal biology that I don't think Yuji could do. Like, do I ever see Yuji air hopping? No. I don't ever see him figuring that out. Once again, he does it. But the thing is, this is leaning more towards like a hypothetical full potential, right? Because we're talking about like unknown tools from like all three clans. Like what tools? He couldn't wield. Well, actually, he may be able to wield SSK, but why would Maki give him that? But like, what other tools? Like it is kind of just like we ball. We're just gonna give him the best of the best, and if we're doing that, that's fine. I could even see him surpassing Maki in physicals, just because like he should have the potential, right? Sukuna surpassed Maki in physicals, so you could argue like they're literally relative until Sukuna starts like boosting with cursed energy on top of his crazy physical stats. And once again, you just didn't have the Sukuna tier, but we'll glaze the physicals. I'm fine with glazing the physicals, but like the tools, I don't know. Let's see.
But if Yuji is mastering his cursed energy reinforcement, that also means he's obviously gonna master things like reverse curse technique. He was already well on his way during Shinjuku Showdown and barely had a month to do it. So
True.
if you give him a couple years, this man is going to be able to heal at such a high speed, an arm or a leg is gonna come back in no time at all. And if we're giving Yuji the ability to just continually devour cursed objects to increase his overall cursed energy output and stock.
Oh, well, actually, this is perfect for what I was talking about earlier. No, this is Choso, I believe. Like this, I think this is the guy who, or no, does this become Eso or Kechizu? Well, essentially, look at this. This is what was around for 150 years. That's not a person. That's not a dude. That's why it needs to be injected into a dude to overtake a dude, right? Like they were not actually alive for 150 years, so no, Yuji doesn't have some super crazy long lifespan. But yeah, but I guess once again, the hardest thing for me to visualize, other than Yuji training for training's sake, I think the reason Yuji got so strong so quickly is because he was put in scenarios that forced him to get more powerful, forced him to draw out more of his latent potential, and there's nothing the verse had to offer post Sukuna. At least unless we get like a flashback or context later that there was another Sukuna tier threat that isn't the Samodians as a whole and like Dabuda himself that Yuji and the crew fought again. Like I don't know if there's any impetus for Yuji to like get better at RCT. What is he damaging himself? Is he ripping himself open? And we also know that whole development came from him like swapping bodies and doing soul training. Was he doing soul training the entire time over the time skip? Like, I just don't know if Yuji has reasons or like external motivations to get this strong. If not even external motivations, like literal the ability to, because unless we do really go like we just fully unzip and just and then we just go crazy on him, is there really a reason for him to be hitting black flash under 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 black flash? Just on random things. Like, I love the idea that Mahito kept reincarnating, like, every 5 years ago, and Yuji would fall out the sky, and, ah! But even then, final Yuji, as he is now, or as he was at the end of the manga, could bully Mahito anyway, so that's not even an impetus to go, like, super crazy strong and beyond. So, like, I don't know, man. Let's see.
Devour cursed objects to increase his overall...
And, like, what cursed objects? Like, and remember, the whole point of the end of the narrative, you'll remember the last, like, 5 chapters or so, it was them explaining that they were actually going to go and slaughter all the reincarnated sorcerers. Like, that was like, actually a thing. Like, Yuji, which is funny, right? Because I wonder what, like, if Choso didn't die, what was Yuji going to do to Choso? Because Choso was also a person in an incarnated body, right? Like, if Kashimo had lived, he wasn't going to, but if he had lived, like, what were they going to do? Were they going to kill Kashimo? Because that's essentially what they do. They're restored, and notably, they aren't, like the people that they already died, right? But essentially, by restoring the original person, you are killing the person that was reincarnated again. So, like, I don't think they would interact with cursed objects in that way, and I don't think Yuji would eat them. And once again, this is a lot of, like, if they exist, where would he find them, and why would he consume them in the first place? I don't know, though. Once again, we're doing this for fun. Let's go.
Curse energy output and stock. That means his total curse energy and stamina is just going to continually get bigger and bigger and bigger. One of the biggest things that Yuji Itadori also has going for him is the fact that he has multiple different curse techniques. With years of skill in blood manipulation, he's obviously going to be Choso level, if not far above it. Supernova, piercing blood are going to be nothing compared to the skill that Yuji's going to be able to bring to blood manipulation.
You know, I'm not gonna keep repeating the same thing. Let's just go.
Especially if you're giving him the death painting ability to make blood from his bare cursed energy, meaning he can just create full tidal waves with blood just like Choso did. And Yuji's already one of the fastest people involved in the story, so if you're giving him the ability to throw his poison blood around and also just harden it like Choso does against Naoya, I really don't see anybody comparing to Yuji when it comes to close quarters combat. But maybe Yuji has grown into long range as well after having plenty of years to master his versions of dismantle and cleave, because from the beginning Yuji was not able to use a projectile slash and had to rely on physical contact, but with plenty of years of mastery, I'm sure he would eventually awaken the ability to use projectile slashes. And with Divine Furnace, the fire...
I will admit, it is very weird. Like I love the Shinjuku Showdown, and I've only come to appreciate it more and more as time passes. Once again, I say this all the time. It's rare for me to ever like grow more hateful of something or like more distasteful of something, because I always just get softer with time. I don't know. I think I can't hold grudges or negative emotions for a long time. Too lazy to. But one of the things that is always weird to me, and is always like, it went from I don't get why to it's just weird now. Why after 9 Black Flashes didn't he unlock a range dismantle? Why were the dismantles like, I don't get that. Why did he not? Why did, like, it feels like an intentional choice by Gege, right? This is why I say it's weird and not necessarily like something that makes me angry or mad or anything like that. It's just weird. Like, why did Gege specifically go out of their way to make sure that Yuji didn't have any range by EOS? Like this is an active point in the narrative. When Yuji launches like that piercing blood, it is mentioned by Choso. He can't do it himself. I need to do it for him. This stays true after the Black Flashes, mind you. After, like, what, 9 Black Flashes, he still can't do anything ranged. That isn't like, oh no, his own blood is coming out of his body, like, beyond his control. I know it was only a month, but, like, still, man, even when you get a further understanding of Jujutsu, even when you lock a whole new curse thing, no range? No range feels weird. And especially considering his dismantle was already established as a contact thing. I feel like it'd be weird for it to fundamentally change back into Sukuna's, especially considering we know that Sukuna's dismantle and cleave are fundamentally different from Yuji's dismantle and cleave. So, like, it's weird, but once again, we're going into hypotheticals. But I will admit, that's just a weird thing that Gege did. It's like Gege was like, yeah, I really don't want you to be strong. Sit down, boy. You get 0 range. That's why I think he loses the characters like Yuta, loses characters like Maki. Because, like, with no range, none at all, he does good against other punchy kick merchants, but Maki has a sword, and she's 1 inch shorter than Yuji. She literally she genuinely, it's so stupid to say, she outranges him. Like, literally never has to get close enough. She can just keep swinging at a range and just keep taking his limbs off, because he can't block any of it. Because he has no range, and he doesn't have, like, a ranged dismantle, so he couldn't block him the same way that Sukuna did. Yuta, just keep, like, launch cursed energy at him. Just keep, boop, and just keep knocking him back. And, of course, Rika. So, like, it's really unfortunate for Yuji, man. I don't know why Gege was so cruel to that boy. What's it?
Arrow ability that is born from multiple dismantle and cleaves over time. It wouldn't surprise me if Yuji was able to use his own version of the fire arrow.
It was like, I gotta stop going to the idea, like, does this make sense? But, like, in a genuine sense, does it? Because, like, we know the way that works. Notably, the raw fire arrow is weird, because, like, he just does it, right? Like, the outside of domain fire arrow, I may need to double check this. I don't even think we get an actual explanation for how he does, like, the just base Fuga, right? Because we know the internal one is born of numerous slashes. That's for, like, the thermobaric reactions that come after they're superheated, so, like, maybe Yuji could just do this? But even then, who knows? His shrine may be so fundamentally different that he can't. How this even exists is unknown to me. I don't even fully get how the one outside works. Maybe it's like he concentrates the dismantles in his hand and lights the air particles on fire, and then has to pull it back. Like, I don't know. Let's see.
Or was able to ignite those flames onto his gauntlet for punches. Again, Yuji also mastered things like barrier techniques when it came to simple domain in like a month. So
Yes. Mastered is a strong word, but yeah, he does. He did very good.
If Kusakabe was able to attack people from afar and extend the range of his simple domain to do some serious damage to Sukuna, give Yuji a cursed object, and he's definitely going to be able to do everything of that nature. Add in things like
good time, yeah, sure.
Amplification and Yuji.
Once again, I mean, Higuruma could teach him, I guess, but Yuji never got that. That's the thing. Like, would he get DA? I guess maybe, because why not have it? Sure, yeah, let's give him DA. Let's give him DA. I mean, like, once again, I guess he'd have to ask you. I'm trying to think of how these conversations went. Hey, Higuruma, that technique suppression thing. Run that to your boy real quick. Let's call Uy up. Let me get some soul training. Let's soul swap Trillian real quick. Because it would be a nice addition to Yuji's kit. But even still, I think with that, he doesn't surpass Gojo. Let's see.
His own master domain expansion, he is going to be a severe threat to anybody that goes up against him in battle. One of the biggest questions that is still there, though, in regards to the end of the series, is if Yuji can actually affect the soul on people that aren't straight up vessels, like the Culling Game players or Sukuna inside Megami's body. However, I think with Yuji being...
Okay, so he's gonna give him soul damage. All right, but you know what? I'm glad about that, because I feel like I read... Was it? Yeah, I think it was in another no operator video I listened to. He's like, Yuji just has soul damage. I'm like, no, he doesn't. It's very specifically locked. But like, so many people, like, JJK is misinformation in the series, bro. I swear so many people believe Yuji just has soul damage, even though there's nothing to prove that. Nothing. Well, that's it. Outside, but he damages Mahito, though. He only does that because he's a dual soul being. Go reread chapter 26. I promise you, that's literally just what Mahito says. A lot of people can damage Mahito. Every Culling Game sorcerer can damage Mahito. Choso can damage Mahito. Eso and Kechizo can damage Mahito. All because they're dual soul beings. That's the only thing. And Yuki maybe, because like she has knowledge of the soul. I'm gonna give it to CG. But like, so, that's it.
Being able to do research into the soul with all of Yuki Tsukumo's notes, as well as have plenty of years to further refine his control of the soul and his understanding of it, why wouldn't Yuji be able to use soul damage if you don't believe he can already? But is all of this enough to really rival Gojo Satoru? Because...
Yeah, Satoru. I'm gonna peer through his comment section after the video. I'm gonna be like, it may just be me though. It may just be me though who's like, why? But I don't think so.
Not for nothing, Gojo is the honored one for a reason. This man has both the Six Eyes and the Limitless, two of the strongest things in the sorcery world of Jujutsu Kaisen. When it comes to the Six Eyes, no matter how great Yuji gets at cursed energy reinforcement, manipulation, and doing the best he can to stay in the highest forms of stamina, Gojo is always going to remain infinite. With the way that the Six Eyes manipulate cursed energy on a near spatial level, as long as Gojo isn't using reverse curse tech...
Atomic. Yeah, like what? Is it down to... Miguel says atomic. But I guess now I think about it, whenever I think about that statement from Miguel now I forget what causes me to do this, but now I'm like extra, whenever I get a statement that's obviously, presumably like the author speaking through a character to inform us, my brain now always goes to how, I mean, like, other than talking to Geto, and how would, I guess maybe Gojo told Geto, and then Geto told Miguel. I think that's it. I think that's how I was able to justify just consistently saying atomic. But, like, I do wonder occasionally, like, okay, that's a statement from a character in universe. Do they actually know how that works? But I could believe that Gojo learned from the Gojo clan, and then Gojo told Geto, and then Geto told Miguel about the Six Eyes. Because I believe that's what he stated, so there's that. That's it.
On a high enough level like he was against Sukuna, he's not going to run out of cursed energy anytime soon. And even though
And notably, Gojo didn't even run out of cursed energy from the RCT output. What happened to Gojo there was his output dropped. Because he just took so much damage, and it was like, he was frying his brain. So his output went down because of that. It wasn't even that, like, unironically, I don't think Gojo was, like, any worse for where cursed energy was. He was probably still, like, 99, 98. Being generous, since Sukuna seemingly lost half throughout that encounter. And he's, like, nearly on the level. Maybe he just lost, like, half of that. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
He does have a limit on his stamina if you consider that he's able to hit Black Flash on Black Flash over and over again to continue stifling his cursed energy and make sure he never runs out. You could probably make the exact same argument for Gojo, because
that, and notably, I had that confused too. Yuji doesn't actually, like, regain cursed energy from Black Flashes. He regains output, and his output spikes. He doesn't actually gain cursed energy from that. I forget where I got the misconception from too, but notably, it's confirmed by the time he's clashing a domain that he's out of cursed energy, right? Like he's hit his stamina limit. He's gassed. Even after hitting Black Flash after 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 Black Flash. So, Black Flash only restores output. Notably, it's even confirmed for Sukuna, right? Like, he's never stated that he regained, like, cursed energy from the multiple Black Flashes he landed. He just regained output, which was immediately knocked down by Yuji again. That's it.
At this point, you have the two characters that are the absolute best at hitting Black Flash, going up against one another. Even if you want to say Yuji...
Arguably Sukuna, too. I'd say Sukuna. Well, I'd say Gojo probably, because let's see, Gojo hits 4. Does Sukuna hit 4 as well? He hits the one against Maki, hits another against Maki, hits the one against, one dude, hits one against Chosen. So technically, Gojo and Sukuna are both tied in Black Flashes. Interesting to think about. What's it?
Is in inflicting enough damage to Gojo, one Black Flash and Gojo's back in the game. Which means the real question is, whose domain is going to be stronger?
Gojo.
Because if Yuji truly is able to reach Sukuna level, that is exactly where the battle went to immediately with two such high-level sorcerers. And the truth is, the Six Eyes does really help Gojo here. No matter how refined Yuji's able to get his domain on a regular level, Gojo's Six Eyes are always going to amplify his domain conditions and domain barrier, as well as the amount of times Gojo can use his domain. Unless you think Yuji is able to do the exact same thing that Sukuna is with an open barrier, in which case it just comes down to the same tactics as the Gojo vs Sukuna fight. Who is able to cast their domain faster? Would it be Yuji, because technically he might not have a guaranteed kill ability, or would it be Gojo, who's able to freely change the type?
I don't think technically Yuji is still technically a sure hit, sure kill. If we go with the idea that it is like a literal soul dismantle, so I think that doesn't necessarily change that. I think the whole idea of Yuji getting open domain though, it's theoretically possible because Sukuna did it in his body. Same thing for like Megami Hypothetical getting open domain, right? And notably, I think the precedent is even laid by how big Yuji's domain is. I remember I made a TikTok about this a while ago. About essentially, like Yuji's domain shell is huge for seemingly no reason, right? Like if you look at it when it finally shatters after Sukuna's defeat, it's like massive and consuming entire chunks of building. The reason I think that is because Yuji isn't just using like his experience of casting Sybil domain with Kusakabe, but he's literally like when he went to do his own domain expansion, he's referencing back to when Sukuna did his own domain while in Yuji's body, and those are super duper large because they're open barrier. So like technically there's the foundation laid that Yuji can make his barrier super huge, but I also think that's a sign of not too much refinement. And also, open domains were only achieved by 2 characters, and Gojo wasn't one of them. And I think Gojo is still infinitely more talented than Yuji. So like, I don't see Yuji ever unlocking open domain, but it's still, even in the open domain scenario, I think let's give Yuji Sukuna tier output. He's still not like Gojo would still actually beat the brakes off of him. And then again, if we give him DA, we give him Sukuna tier stats, but Sukuna has the better. I don't know. It's interesting though. It's interesting. It could be, but once again, you have to give Yuji so much that he probably just wouldn't have. Like being completely honest, he probably just wouldn't have. And once again, as I'm assuming he's about to go into, Yuji would probably still just get domain diffed, right? Like him actually reaching Gojo and Sukuna levels of refinement. Even with him having the same potential as Sukuna, it's just not there. I don't see it. We'll see.
Of his domain as seen in Shibuya with the 0.2 domain expansion. Or maybe you think Yuji can do that as well, which really brings up the biggest point when it comes to comparing these two sorcerers. Can Yuji get past Limitless?
No, without DA.
Give Yuji domain amplification, which means in a close quarters fight, Yuji could potentially go through the Limitless's infinite space, putting again the two characters that might have some of the highest level of hand-to-hand against one another doesn't really make things very clear. When it comes down to it, I definitely think Gojo has a severe advantage against Yuji when it comes to combat. However, if you want to say power-wise, peak Yuji is still someone that is capable of reaching Gojo Satoru's level. I personally just don't believe it. Because
I agree.
Even with everything that Yuji has in his kit at a complete peak level, he comes nowhere close to the sheer dominance someone like the Honored One has on the battlefield. Almost every other...
I agree. All right. So even with me being like, operator, what's this? What's that? We're doing this. We're doing that. But yeah, even if we're coming to the same conclusion. All right, I'm leaning with it. I'm rocking with it. Let's see.
Special grade sorcerer Yuta Okotsu, Yuki Tsukumo, Geto Suguru, and even Kenjaku with his extra abilities and knowledge were all scared of ever having
language.
to take Gojo on at full power. And that is just not something you would ever be able to say about Yuji. Even though if Yuji was to go up against any of these special grades, it would probably be an extremely difficult fight. Almost every single one of them has a direct counter for him. It's part of the reason why even in the main series, Yuji Itadori is the strongest when he has someone to back him up, like Aoi Todo. But on his own, 1v1,
kind of buns.
Lacks a lot of the overpowered hacks that someone like Gojo Satoru has. We're talking a character that's basically invincible unless you're able to sneak away through his Limitless, and has one of the most overpowered techniques in the series through red, blue, and purple that are able to do some of the largest amounts of damage. I mean, we already saw Gojo handle a character like Sukuna who was using projectile slashes like Dismantle and had an insane domain expansion.
In Yuji's defense, though, Sukuna used Dismantle twice on Gojo. First time right at the start, and then at the end with a Binding Vow. So, like, technically, but then again, the Dismantle just wouldn't work. So it's fine.
Like Malevolent Shrine. So surpassing Gojo for Yuji is frankly just out of the question. I think it's safe to say what this curse user meant by the statement was comparing sorcerers today to the sorcerers of old.
Yep.
Not necessarily saying everyone from the old era was a Gojo level sorcerer. Personally, I think Yuji is definitely one of the strongest characters in the series. But the truth is, Yuji just does not compare to special grade sorcerers. There are definitely
I say he's definitely special grade level in terms of like he can fight special grade sorcerers, but I also do like the only one I say he like consistently probably beats is Geto, but even then you could make arguments that Geto just curse diffs him eventually. It'll take forever, but 6,000 curses against one guy who can't instantaneously one shot all of them. It could be pretty bad. You could argue Yuji speed blitzes and stops him from ever getting the curses out. For Tsukumo, same thing. You could just argue a speed diff. Like, he may just beat the brakes off of her and dodge all of her attacks, which is actually pretty possible. But then for, like, Yuta and Gojo, it's not happening. I don't think it's happening against someone like Maki. I think Akari could actually give him a good run, if not actually beat him through, like, stalling. I think he loses to a character like Urume, which sounds crazy to many. I know many people are going to hear that and be like, what? But, like, Urume kind of just range diffs him. And notably, if you think Yuji and Akari are at all comparable in durability, it doesn't really matter because it seems like Urume's stuff does like Duraneg, like she freezes you and then she just shatters the body part that was frozen, and like Yuji's RCT ain't that good. Ain't that good. So like, I don't know, dog. I think Yuji, he's like, I'm not like he may. I don't think he's top 5. I really don't think he's top 5. He has to be top 10 though. I can't confidently name 10 characters above Yuji, can I? I'm talking like EOS, not this hypothetical full potential Yuji. But even then, obviously Gojo, Sukuna, Kenny, I think Kenny domain diffs Yuji, plus curse diffs Yuji. It's like a horrific combination there. He literally domain plus curse diff. Yuta, I think still beats him. Maki, I think beats him. Toji, by proxy being equal to Maki, beats him. I won't say Akari confidently, because like Yuji could possibly speed diff him in bays. So if it's a jackpot, you could give Akari. But let me hold up. I'll put Urume up there once again because of the range diff. Kashimo probably just because of a speed diff. Once again, once he goes NBA, if he goes NBA. Kershia probably also just whoops Yuji just because of like lack of speed scaling and also his domain. They should have relativity in domain ability, except actually you could argue Nagi's would be better. And he just would never get hit by Yuji. And then who's a 10? Like, that's the thing. I think I have to put Yuji at 10 at that point, right? Because I'm not sure. Like, I can't say Ryu, because the only Ryu we see is, like, Incarnated Ryu, and Incarnated Ryu isn't fast enough, and he would just eventually lose because he wouldn't be able to hit Yuji. Uro also is, like, a bad counter. She just flies away, but that doesn't, like, flying away doesn't count as beating, right? Like, stalling doesn't work unless you have a way to actually take down the character. I don't think Uro has anything to take down Yuji. Yorozu could arguably perfect spear diff him, though. But then again, I don't even think Yorozu's feats are that valid. So, like, do I say that she? If you want to, you can drag it and like name 10 characters. But no, but I say Yuji being top 10 makes sense. But him being top 5 is like basically impossible. It's basically impossible. Even well, maybe not if we can like full potential absolute limits like Sukuna tier completion, but like EOS Yuji, I don't think he's that guy. It doesn't even look like he's gonna cover Sukuna. But let's see, we have 30 seconds.
Always going to be characters that are way closer to Gojo than he is. Yuji would probably be the strongest grade 1 in the series, but characters like Yuta,
Yeah, I mean, literally, I agree because I don't think he meets special grade criteria. But let's see.
Kotsu are always going to be closer to Gojo than he is. And if that's a video that you'd be interested in, seeing Yuji take on every special grade sorcerer and seeing how those battles would go, definitely click the like button and comment down below.
All right.
Let me know what your thoughts are.
All right, so that's the end of the video. All right, so he didn't even cover Sukuna. So like, I guess he's like, if he can't beat the second strongest character, he's not gonna beat the first. All right. W video. He went down a lot of hypotheticals. He gave Yuji a whole bunch of stuff, but we ended up coming to the same conclusion anyway. Like always back in the beginning of the video, I was like, not really. And then in No Operator, despite giving Yuji this, that, the third, a whole bunch of things that he realistically just wouldn't get. Even he was still like, not really. So we're pretty much in the same boat, right? Yuji, extremely powerful, extremely strong. Not actually that strong though. Really not even special grade tier just because of how special grade works. So like, unfortunate. I know a lot of Yuji fans are probably gonna be very mad at me, and I'm probably very mad at him for this video. But with that being the case, if you made all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave not there yet. Why not? Let's do not there yet in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you have a Patreon down below where you can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, or you can become a member on the main channel. Not over here yet. Still not capable for making memberships over here yet. But you can go become a member or a patron, link in the description down below, over on the main channel that got the pencil, in order to get access to early videos, ad-free content, and more. You'll get your name included at the end of every one of the videos on the main channel as well. I only don't do that over here just because it's like separate enough, but if, I don't know, if the patron members are like, put us over here too, I'll probably end up doing that as well. So like patron members, you will probably get thanks at the end of the video over here as well, depending on if it's asked for. But with that being the case, I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.